our last episode, Rock and I took a one-night break in New Orleans after driving from Arizona to Louisiana. The next day, we traveled to Mississippi to meet up with superheroes Impact, Blue Falcon, Crackdown, and Eon in Biloxi. We followed the team on patrol and got to know them a lot better. Plus, we were able to spend a little time in the Wayward Kraken, or as we like to call it, Nerd Paradise. And we do know a thing or two about being nerds. After reluctantly saying goodbye to our friends and former teammate, we're back on the road headed east to Florida to meet up with a couple of real-life supervillains and someone who's a bit of an enigma. The sun rises over Palm Coast, Florida, and although we only get a limited amount of time to spend with him, we're excited to finally meet the infamous Lord Chain. He's well respected in the real-life superhero community, not only for his longevity, but also for his sage advice. This is his first interview. He calls himself a hero to some and a villain to others. You make the call.
I'm Lord Chain in Palm Coast, Florida. I had a pretty bad insomnia at one point, and when I went to college, in order to find something to do in the middle of the night, I used to just walk around the dorms. And a friend of mine who worked at the school as one of the housing people, she had been out of a abusive relationship, and her and her husband had agreements that, you know, they weren't allowed to contact each other. If he needed something, she would leave it, you know, in her car, and he would go pick it up or whatever. And at that particular point, I guess he had shown up while she was getting something out of her truck, and I happened to be walking through, and he got confrontational with her, and I had to step in to stop that. And at that moment, I kind of realized that, you know, while I'm up in the middle of the night and don't have anything else better to do other than watch Alf, I could, you know, be making sure that something like that doesn't happen again, because, you know, how many stories have you heard about college where things like that do happen? And this was an isolated incident, you know, but it does happen. And my friend Angel, who did security at the college, he was a security guard there, is really what got me into the idea of patrolling. He would come over and be like, hey, you know, I gotta patrol the campus, you wanna come with me? And so I would, you know, and on occasion we'd run into problems and he'd have to write in his log. We were, you know, patrolling the campus and keeping people safe, basically, you know. So that's where it really kind of started, was in college. I think the hardest part of any person who wants to do public safety or any sort of outreach or anything is just knowing where the line is between your personal comfort zone and the comfort zone of society. A lot of times, a lot of people want to jump into things and, you know, don't know exactly how far your personal interests, you know, in helping align with what is over the bounds of what you're not supposed to be doing. And I think that's one of those things that everybody comes to terms with, is trying to get comfortable with where their comfort zone is and whether they should go beyond their comfort zone or pull back from it.
Somebody comes up to you and goes, I'm thinking about doing this real life superhero thing.
Well, first you want to know what your specialty is. Figure out what it is that you're getting into it for. And I mean, usually most people already know. There's something that happened to them as to why they got into it in the first place, or even got the idea of it. Other people watched the movie and thought, hey, that'd be cool to do, and they still don't know exactly what it is that they want to do. So you have to experiment starting out. Some people often hear superhero, they think they have to fight, you know, and that's not always the case. Not everybody's a fighter, especially once I start having children. You know, I can't put myself in danger all the time. Some people, they will see this and they'll see that it's, you know, there's a lot of public, you know, outreach, especially with the homeless. That may not be for you. You know, you may legitimately be terrified of the aspect of talking to homeless people, and that's okay too. You know, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and you just have to play on that and then figure out where your comfort zone is and then make that decision. I mean, I can't say I've been completely active the entire time that I've been doing this. Like, I've been doing this since 1995, and I've done different things within that time span. So, but it'd be ridiculous to say that every single night for the last 25 years I've been doing it. No. You know, there have been spurts. You know, when I was in college, I patrolled the college environment. When I was living in Albuquerque, Albuquerque's a large city. You can't patrol the entire city like you could an entire campus. You know, so I had to pick and choose what area was the area that I was most comfortable with. I didn't even really consider the helping the homeless angle until I finally decided to become homeless at one point to find out what homelessness was like. And I didn't understand why I was doing it beforehand until after I came out of it, and then thought to myself, like, you know, it's ridiculous for you to have that experience and do nothing with it. Clearly, in Palm Coast, it's a very low crime area. It's also a very low homeless population area. It's easier to control. And I don't do anything with the crime fighting aspect of it anymore, because we have an adequate sheriff's department. You know, and the way that the land is laid out, it's impossible to patrol. Say it was Hollywood. When we were patrolling Hollywood, we stuck to the main Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset and the other one on the opposite side. We stuck to a particular area, but it was easy to walk up and down because it was condensed, whereas here it's more spread out. What keeps me going is that, you know, when I help people, I'm here to save the day, you know. I'm making friends. I'm not making, you know, I'm not looking for the damsel in distress. These are people also. And when you friend somebody, you know, regardless of who they are, everybody has their own thing that they're going through at that particular moment in time. It's mostly about the help, you know, and helping out what is potentially a friend, you know. Well, we had discussed earlier when I was a kid, I saw a movie called Stone Pillow, which stars Lucille Ball, and that's pretty much what got me interested in wanting to know what it was like to be homeless from the start. And I was a kid when I saw that movie. I would suggest that when you are getting into this, you actually look up real material about the real world and the interest that you want, you know, and don't just take, you know, a movie's word for it or somebody else's word for it, even somebody who's been doing it a long time, because they're not going to do things the way that you're going to do them, and you shouldn't emulate somebody if it doesn't fit who you are.
Good?
Good.
The only person with, no name.
001.
001.